Now I'm going to demonstrate the last of the fly movements, and that's the side rise fly. So fly, anything I'm calling a fly is anything that is done as a single joint straight arm movement with the shoulder being really the muscle that's moving. Although in any of these exercises you're going to be getting some work with your biceps and your triceps, simply stabilizing your position, your straight arm position as you go through these movements. So in this side rise fly, I'm going to start. Now I'm actually going to do this, start off doing this in the opposite direction, facing away from you, but I want to turn around and show you how it would start from the opposite arm, just so I can be facing you and you can see what I'm talking about here more clearly. Here's the movement we're going through when we do this side rise fly. Now if I were holding dumbbells, or holding a dumbbell in my hand and raising my arm up to the side, this is how I would do the side rise fly. But I'd start from here. I couldn't really come across my body because now the weight would actually be pulling me in the direction that I want to be having resistance working against me. It would actually be pulling my arm down rather than resisting me, and the resistance wouldn't really start until I got out to about here, really, because here the weight's just swinging back and forth. Now with the tubes, and this is the advantage of working out with tubes, you can do this with cables as well in a gym, but why work out in a gym when you can come outside to work out or do it in the convenience of your own home? But here's the advantage to doing this with these resistance tubes is look how far across my body I can go to start my movement through this range of motion. If I were working out with dumbbells, here's where I'd be starting, but by working out with the resistance tubes, I'm able to work pulling because the resistance is coming from the side of my body. I'm able to really actually work with resistance through this first range of motion. Now, so that I can face you most of the time, I'm going to show you how to do this with my right arm, my opposite arm. And so I'd be starting facing away from you, and again, I'm going to kind of turn around this way a little bit so you can see me a little more clearly, but you could see when I was working with the other arm how far across my body I am to do this first motion. So I'm going to focus on the eccentric count of 1 pulling across and then 3 counts coming back slower back to the starting position, working through that eccentric contraction. So here we go through the first range of motion here. I'm going to be doing 10 of these. You do whatever you feel you're capable of doing for these sets. So here we go. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 6, 2, 3, 4, 7, 2, 3, 4, 8, 2, 3, 4, 9, 2, 3, 4, 10, 2, 3, 4. Now again, switching hands so that you can again see this is the range of motion I'm working through this first set that we're doing through the first third of the complete range of motion. You also notice that I've got the anchor set down at just below knee level actually to go on through these series of exercises. Now again, getting back to this arm, if I were squared up to the anchor facing away to do the next range of motion coming up, I turn around and face now where the arm that I'm working is on the same side as the anchor, and I'm starting off at about the same hand height as I was to finish off coming across. A little bit of difference here. I'd actually be starting down here if I could do this absolutely. Now I could play with the anchor and set it down even lower, actually have it down to the ground level, and if you're working inside, just go ahead and move the door anchor in the door frame down to the floor to do this. But this gives me a pretty good complete range of motion without needing to reset the anchor every time I move from one set to the other. And of course you wouldn't be taking any time at all. I'm taking time to talk you through this, so this is taking significantly more than it would just take to do the exercise. So here's the second set, and we're coming through about this range of motion. So again, focusing on the eccentric contraction 4 count. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 6, 2, 3, 4, 7, 2, 3, 4, 8, 2, 3, 4, 9, 2, 3, 4, 10, 2, 3, 4. And again, experiment with the resistance that you're working with. You'll notice I really wasn't able to get a lot of motion there, and I could have actually switched out and gone to a lighter tube, moved a little bit further away, and been able to maybe get a little more range of motion. So play with the resistance on these exercises to just figure out where you're getting the best range of motion. You don't want to get too much where you're moving through the entire range and just flopping around, but you don't want it too heavy where you're only able to move a few inches. Although, because the leverage is so weak on these muscles pulling up through these, through the pulls especially, you know, when I'm doing an overhead position and I'm pulling down, I have a lot more leverage when I'm pulling down and through. When my arm's coming up, you know, when I'm coming down, I'm using a fuller range of muscles coming on down through both my chest and my back as I come through this. When I'm pulling up, it's basically just the deltoid muscle doing the work, so I don't have nearly the leverage. So I'm not getting the range of motion that I do when I'm doing the pull downs. Okay, here we go with the last range of motion, and I'm going to go ahead and 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 6, 2, 3, 4, 7, 2, 3, 4, 8, 2, 3, 4, 9, 2, 3, 4, 10, 2, 3, 4. And to help with the leverage on that, I have a slight bend in my elbow. I'm not trying to do it with completely straight arms. By bending my arm just a little bit, I've got much more capability of pushing through a little bit with a little bit more power as I do those exercises. So there you go. There's the side rise fly. Remember, whatever you do with one side, you're going to do with the other. So if I were now going to work on my other arm, I'd turn around, I'd start off going through this range of motion, I'd then turn around, go through the second range of motion, step in, and go through the third range of motion. So you do these flies, you do the chest fly, the reverse fly or the back fly, you do the forward pull down fly, you do the forward rise fly, you do the side pull down fly, the side rise fly, and then you go ahead and you do your bicep curl, your tricep extension, maybe a little bit of a forearm workout, which I'll be showing in another video, and you've got a complete upper body workout for that day.